But Wike has come and is trying to bring some alien things, alien concepts into the state, and that is the thing the state does not understand.
Power concedes nothing without a demand. These are the words of Frederick Douglass. Good morning and welcome. This is a big story, and I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. In Rivers State today, the question is no longer about peace alone. It is about who controls power, who defines loyalty, and who truly governs. President Bola Tinubu has stepped in once again to halt the political inferno between Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike. A figure that has paralyzed governance, threatened impeachment, and once plunged the oil-rich state into emergency rule. But this intervention raises a troubling question. Is this a genuine peace process or a strategic power play designed to secure political dominance ahead of 2027? When a sitting governor is told who his political leader must be, when party authority is dictated from Abuja, and when stability comes with conditions that redefine democratic independence, then we must ask, is this conflict resolution or political control? Joining me to interrogate this complex and combustible issue is Sam Woko, a deputy editor with Nigerian Tribune. This is peace or power play, Tinubu's intervention and the politics of control in Rivers State. Welcome this morning.
Good morning. Good morning, viewers. Good to be here.
Definitely. So let's start this way. Why do you think this particular conflict is a little bit different from past godfather-successor disputes? In the last 3 years, we've seen impeachment, legislative paralysis, and we are also seeing an impeachment process now. And then reports has it that it was altered by the president. What do you make of this case? Why is it so different?
Thanks for that insight. I think for me, the main reason why the conflict in Rivers State, the confusion in Rivers State, the brouhaha, the political confusion in Rivers State, the main reason why it is different is because it is not a place where godfatherism thrives. And the introduction of godfatherism by someone who himself fought godfatherism to a standstill, and who pronounced several times that he would not encourage godfatherism, is the person now standing as a godfather himself. So he has to face strong resistance, and that is why it is different there. In some places, you will hear political leaders in that place make comments, come together, say certain things. You see them in political spaces making comments, adjudicating in matters and so on. But in Rivers State, you don't have it. When Odili left and went away. When Rotimi Amechi left, he left and went away because it was Wike that took over from him. So it is Wike that has now come and become a thorn in the flesh of both the party and the people in that state, on the one hand. On the other hand, when you think back to the era of people like Chief Ada George, not many people remember that a governor was in that state called Ada George, a whole lot of people.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is that the political leaders there come, they go. Play your role, go. Another person takes over, plays his roles, goes. Another person takes over, and so on. But Wike has come and is trying to bring some alien things, alien concepts into the state, and that is the thing the state does not understand, and it's becoming a whole lot of issue for them. Some have said it is importing the Lagos type of godfatherism into Rivers State, and that it may backfire big time. So that's why it is different. Okay,
so do you think it's because some persons are arguing that it's because Fubara is not a core politician, or was not a core politician before he became governor? He's not so strong politically.
It's also a factor. It's a factor. The fact that he was not into mainstream politics, but we cannot rule out the fact that he had worked with this same Wike, who has become his albatross now, or vice versa, because they are both albatrosses to themselves. he has worked with him. He has learned lessons. People have forgotten that the EFCC came after this Wike, and it was people like Fubara that stood and blocked him, during the time, and so on and so forth. So he should, as a good student, he should have learned some things in the 8 years with which he played some prominent roles in the government of Wike. And beyond that too, he should also have built his own little political base, whether you want to agree with it or not. So, as it is now, we still have a situation in which you have somebody who is noisier, who is more voluminous, let me use that word, who makes the more noise, who creates more bubbles, is the one we are seeing. Whereas Fubara acts as if he knows nothing that is going on. But hey, in Rivers State, when you get to Rivers State, it's a completely different ball game entirely.
Okay, now, so let's go back to that piece that the president initiated the first time this whole thing happened. Some persons have argued it was a fragile peace. Now the president has stepped in again. Let me do a little comparison. When the First World War happened, after the old versus peace treaty, especially, Germany as a country felt cheated, and then they referred to the peace as a dictated peace. And that was what led or prepared the foundation for the Second World War, because it was not a total peace. This new peace now that the president has initiated, can it solve the problem?
No, it can't. Because it's just like the diktats which happened in in fact, it's actually shortly after the war in 45, diktat started, processes towards it. But, let's leave diktat now. Now, what is going on in Rivers State is a situation in which I have come to see as the president or the powers that be at Abuja trying to use the two political centers in Rivers State to create a balance for himself. You cannot dictate how peace should be. A peace is not a dictate of somebody.
Okay.
Even if it's in the home. If you beat a child with the left hand, you use with the right hand, you use the left hand to draw him close and say, you shouldn't have done that. You have to find a way to create a level where the two have to agree at certain things. So all I'm trying to say is this. When you created the first peace scenario, people thought, okay, this is an end to the whole issue. But at the end of the day, when matters filtered out and people began to hear what happened, transpired in Abuja, people said, no, this shouldn't be. When he got back home, people of the states refused and said, look, no, we cannot take this and so on. So it didn't end because the man who is after him is not relenting. And all those things, by this time next year, I'm sure would have, in fact, by this time in August, September, all those things would have had a head. But the peace dictated, the peace prescribed, the peace brokered by the president is a diktat completely. It's just like saying, hey, you go and sit down. This is your political leader. Let him do the work for us while you reign as the governor. And it can't work because the man we are talking about, Wike we are talking about, is not a member of the APC. This governor has defected into your party. So will Wike come to your National Executive Council meeting? Will he come to your APC meetings and so on and take decisions? And then when Fubara, who has defected, goes to those meetings and comes back with decisions and so on, he will now go and report to a PDP leader. If Wike he will be called a member of the PDP. So it's a kind of, the arrangement is warped, the arrangement is confusing, it has no basis at all. So the president is not handling this issue well. I don't think he is. But what he has in focus is getting votes for himself in 2027. And that is the entire thing he's trying to do. It doesn't matter how Wike handles it. It doesn't matter how Fubara handles it. So long as I get votes, that's it for me. But Wike is fighting for his political life. Let's remember that.
Okay.
Because if anything happens to him now, I'm sure he will quietly leave this country and nobody will hear of him again. And same thing with Fubara, who is trying the best he can to ensure that he gets another ticket and sees, because he hasn't ruled in the last 3 years or thereabouts. So everybody is fighting for their political lives, but somebody is at an advantage. Like the Japanese will say, they say a man who is talking to a lady on a hill, they are not on the same level. So somebody is definitely on the hill, some other people are down the hill.
Okay, there was a time Wike said there's no PDP, no APC in Rivers State.
Yes.
How can you interpret that?
Well, that is exactly where the confusion begins from. Now, he says it's a rainbow coalition and things like that. Well, whatever rainbow coalition he's trying to build, you should remember that there is also another party called the ADC. People may think the ADC has nothing to do, we've not been hearing about them and so on and so forth. The people themselves who have the right to decide who they want to vote for are even watching. You know, we may say, yes, it doesn't, our votes don't, no. It goes beyond that. Votes will count and so on. You may create all that you want to do. And I'm sure that people are guarding against the kind of things that happened in 2023. So if he's talking about a rainbow coalition, it has to be anchored on something. So what is that coalition anchored on? If there is no APC, if there is no PDP or ADC or any political party whatsoever, all we just want to do is vote for Tinubu. Is he saying it as a party leader, or he's saying it as a political leader, or as an economic leader, or as a minister, or as a governor? So what we know and what the party has said is the governor is the leader of the APC in Rivers State. But you have fought to get yourself to be declared the leader of the party in Rivers State, creating another level, another layer, and another specter of confusion. So by the time all this, because they are going to drag this till the primaries, and so on and so forth. So that coalition, what if others rise up between now and that period? Because people will get tired of all the shenanigans, and people are going to revolt. Because after all, it is the people who would decide.
Okay, so let's talk about this whole party thing now, because I recall there was a time that the Rivers State party chairman declared that Fubara is the leader of the party. But now that the president stepped in, report has it that, you know, the president now informed Fubara to accept Wike as the party leader. Is that not an aberration?
The confusion is this. Is Wike a member of the APC? He has not declared for the APC. Yes, we know he is working for the president, who happens to be APC. So until Wike comes out to say he is APC, then the president himself is not helping this matter. That's just the way I look at it. Wike has not declared for APC. We cannot claim that Wike is a member of the APC. He is not a card-carrying member of the APC.
He was even expelled recently.
And now he has been expelled from the PDP. He still, whether he agrees with it or not, he still has that to contend with. So how will he, out of nowhere, be a leader of the APC when they have a governor, they have a party chairman, they have leaders of the party, both nationally and so on and so forth? So for the president to have said that from the reports we read and from some of the things that are filtering in, then it means that this confusion has only just begun. And it doesn't end where he thinks it has ended. Because Rivers State is not a place where you dictate to people just like that. I remember, you know, in fact, growing up, we learned Port Harcourt is a leveler. They say Port Harcourt is a leveler, and I saw an example. One day, Adokie Ame Semaka, who used to be a national hero in football, won the Nations Cup for Nigeria and so on. He used to play with Segun Odegbamianko. His vehicle fell into a ditch. So people ran to help him. They didn't know he was the one. You know. So I had seen him from afar. I said, that's Adokie. So those boys that went to help to bring out the vehicle now told him to give them something, because when they pushed the vehicle out, he would go. I think he refused. He didn't even want to come down because that would mean him stepping into the water. So they now say, wait till they worry you. So I was shouting from my father, that's Adokie. They say, now Adokie, they carry me. That was the question they asked me. Who is he? If you make it there now and so on. So that day, the saying that Port Harcourt is a leveler came back. They didn't even look at his face at all. So that still happens in Rivers State. Forget the fact that Wike, the kind of person he is a man about the streets and so on. There are still so many other people who don't agree with his style. And I don't think it's going to be in favor of APC at the end of the day.
Do you think the game will change after the presidential election? And let's just assume the president wins. Because it appears a lot of persons, you need to check online. Some people are saying it's looking like impeachment process is now a threat. They are using impeachment to threaten Fubara to accept certain things.
You see, that impeachment is a dangling sword. That one is there. It's dictating a lot of things in the camp of Fubara, whether it is a merited impeachment or not, because as we speak today, that impeachment is under a kind of perpetual suspension because of what the courts said.
Okay.
The court in Oyibo and other places. You know, that's on the one hand. On the other hand, which is the second leg of your question, if there will be a change, a shift in the dynamics of River State, it won't even get to next year.
Okay.
Before the dynamics shift, before those changes will take place. It won't. I have been saying this since last year, and it will get to a point when people will take it no more. And politically, they are going to speak. Because there are other people working quietly in River State who are not making noise. Now, this same Wike who has been given the responsibility of, that's if it turns out to be, this same Wike who has been told to go and lead the party in River State has said he's interested in Oyo State. And he's interested in many other states too. So, how many houses would his dog guard? You know, like the Yoruba will say, a dog will not be so fierce that it will guard two houses at the same time. So I don't see him running this race because it's a marathon. I don't see him running this race at this same pace and at this same stride till 2027. I don't see that happening. And there's going to be a lot of dynamics, a lot of changes in River State and in other states in months to come. Okay,
this is a sharp one now. Fubara moving to APC, is it a wrong move?
To save his political life, it is not a wrong move.
But will it guarantee him the second
time? But now
time?
It has not guaranteed him his second time because he is dealing with a very tough opponent. However, in politics, you can't rule out anything. When the chiefs are down, he's still the governor of the state. He can do and undo. You have declared a state of emergency in that state. So I don't think he has anything to fear anymore. It will get to a point. If you remember, this same Fubara spoke in anger at some point and said, look, he doesn't even want to be the governor anymore. If you remember that, he said, I'm done. Let them, you know. So he could as well do that. And he would, at that time, he will become a bull in a China shop. So look at all those scenarios. He can turn out to be a bull in China shop. The worst you will do is you arrest him and detain him. And when you detain him, because by then he would have stopped. As a governor now, you can't arrest him. So he can do whatever he has within his powers to do. The little he can do as a governor, he can do it. Because one of the things that are still keeping him, his arms clipped, is the fact that he's watching what is happening from Abuja. You know. So when it gets to the point where he has to take a decision, I'm sure he's going to take a decision. And that will change the dynamics. So that's what I believe.
Okay, does he have the capacity to win the next election? Should they even give him the ticket?
If they give him the ticket, he hasn't got a personal capacity to win the election. But that time, if he has the ticket, the capacity will come. You know, like in Christianity, you should come as you are. You are not supposed to be perfect. Okay. You know, grace makes you perfect. So grace, in this case, is that ticket. Once he has it, everything will fall in line. In politics, that's what it's going to be. Because if he gets that ticket, he would have defeated Wike. Because Wike cannot campaign against the APC, which ticket Fubara has. Okay. So if he fights and battles and gets the ticket, then he has defeated Wike because Wike cannot campaign against him. That's the way it is. And the capacity now, as an individual, he hasn't got it, not because it will not come, but because he has been running with foxes. He has been running with very dangerous animals. So he has to tread carefully. And there are other factors which will also help him get the ticket apart from the Wike factor.
Okay.
Wike is not the all in all, be all in the APC.
But the president is so interested in him.
So if the president is interested in him, the president is also in dilemma. If the president says, okay, somebody else will win this ticket, then there will be confusion in that state. So that's why I said earlier that the confusion has just begun. So they have to handle Fubara himself with a lot of tact. You know, and the best thing for them is to let him run the second term and ignore what Wike's sentiments are towards him. If they raise anybody, Amehule has done everything in his powers to ensure that they push. If we want to impeach Fubara, what is the offense of Ngozi Odu? The deputy.
I mean, the claim of the House of Assembly is they are working together.
So
they need to go
gross, you have to list the gross misconduct of this one and list the gross misconduct of the other one. So the confusion remains. And people are forgetting that there are other political centers in that state too, who have been quiet. You know, there are a lot of them. Forget Amechi even. Forget Sir Peter Odili.
Okay.
Those ones too are there. But there are other political centers who will damn the consequences and rise in defense of their state.
Who don't like Wike?
Who don't like what is going on. It may not necessarily be Wike, but how Wike is carrying on with this matter. Wike is not the only one dictating what goes on in Rivers State.
Well, he's louder.
Well, he's louder. And like I admitted, he's haughty, he does everything, and he has his hand in so many pies. Remember, this Wike is still a minister, serving in the government. So, like I said, by the middle of this year, the dynamics will have changed. And hopefully, by the grace of God, we'll come here to discuss the change in the dynamics.
You mentioned something very important, and that's what happened recently between Wike and, of course, Makinde. As one way or the other, we can still connect it to this issue, because some persons are saying because PDP cannot tame Wike, you know, it has caused more political tension for the country, not just in Rivers or in Oyo State, because Wike said something. I am interested in whatever is going on in Oyo PDP.
I'm interested in Oyo State, and he said he's interested in Oyo State, and he wants to leave it at that. Everybody knows what Wike does when he says things like this one now is because he's even speaking. He spoke about Oshun when Ajibola Bashiru challenged him.
Okay.
He said he didn't know what we did, and so on and so forth. So that kind of loose cannon is not, I mean, he's out of control, so to say. And by June, July, I'm sure things would have changed. I don't know what it's going to be, but there would be changes. Now, coming down to how he has spoken about Oyo, don't forget that the gentility, quote and unquote, of Fubara is not timidity. He is being reined in by certain factors. And Fubara, whether we want to agree or not, is a governor. He is sworn in, he's a governor. He would have people who include governors who are sympathetic to his cause and who are watching. He will have people who are strong enough in certain areas, who don't agree with what Wike is doing, who would come and rise in his defense. Now, Wike has said he's interested in what is going on in Oyo State. Oyo State is not daft. So daft as not to leave some intelligence marks to know what this man is bringing into the state. He couldn't have done worse than what he is doing already in PDP.
Okay.
He can't. Of course, he cannot declare PDP. He has no other. I mean, there's nothing more you can do other than to cause confusion and try to break the party, which we are doing with all that is within him and with, you know, the powers behind him. Because Wike alone is, I mean, Wike alone cannot do all these things. He has powers who are pushing him to do this kind of thing. These things he is doing. So he is causing confusion in Rivers State, and is now openly boasting that he is coming to cause the same kind of confusion in Oyo State. Because that's what we are going to infer it to be. And what it means is that whoever Makinde is going to support to emerge as the next candidate or the governor of the state, he will scuttle it. He can't do more than that. And after that, in 2027, when the elections will take place, what happens of Wike? What becomes of Wike? So the kind of history he has written for himself, are those the ones, the kind of things he's going to be bandying about? Or he has decided to end his political career this political cycle, in this political cycle. So Oyo State will be lying in wait for him, and this may be his albatross, because this is a place where politics is played at its pristine level. This is a place where the game is different from what is there. You know, I will call in music. I don't know how to.
Okay, I think I get you now. Let me come in this way. There are similarities between Makinde and Fubara. They are both, looking at their personality, they are both calm. I mean, they don't just speak anyhow. But then let's look at it this way, because a lot of persons, even Wike himself, there was a time he said Makinde might be gentle, but then do not get carried away with his calmness. So do you think Makinde can withstand whatever it Wike is planning for your state?
You know, the good thing about it all is that Wike is a minister, an appointee. If there is a cabinet reshuffle today and he is affected, let me use the word affected, he no longer has any relevance, no standpoint. He will become, you won't refer to him as minister. He will say he's former governor. That's the best you can do. And Makinde is still the governor of Oyo State until 2027. And Makinde is not seeking, he has said he's not seeking any election. So he has the time to sit down and plan and leave his eyes open and watch what this man is bringing to his state. You know, one of the good things is that he has declared this war on Oyo State.
Exactly.
And he has declared an open war against Makinde. And another good thing, Makinde is a very calculative person. Wike himself recognized the fact that Makinde is deadly. By deadly, I don't mean, I mean he's
strategic.
He's very strategic. Thank you. He's a good marksman in politics. So he recognizes that. So is he going to play the game of Makinde along with the game of Fubara, which he is playing now? Something has to give.
He appears tough. You don't think he can do it?
He appears tough. When I worked in Rivers State as a correspondent, I know the limit of Wike. We know those areas he can't touch. There were people who are tougher than him, who are still tougher than him. There are people I'm trying to remember his name now. There's a senator that once spoke.
Okay.
He didn't respond to him. Wike did not. Mbata.
Okay.
He didn't respond to him. Mbata said, you know. So there are people he still. When Wike was younger, quote and unquote, in politics, there were people, even in Port Harcourt City, PHC, they call it Farga. There are people in his Obiakpo. There are people in Nemoa. And some other local governments. Ikwere has 4 local governments. Ikwere local government. Yes, Ikwere, where Abeji comes from. Obiakpo, where Wike comes from. Emoha, where we have people like Sergeant Awuse, Azubike Merokeni, Lenchuku Obowu, and Ikwere, Moha, Obiakpo, and PHC, Port Harcourt City. Those 4 local governments. In those 4 local governments, Wike only strong for one, which is his Obiakpo. There are people who are stronger than him in the other local governments.
He didn't even go to Obiakpo the last time he went there for, I mean, I think it was a rally.
What I'm trying to say is that there are people there who can stand up to him, but they are just watching. They are watching. That's why I'm saying he is not the only person who will determine what happens in the entire River State. Who will he be? Okay, now, you cannot go and dictate what will happen in Ogoniland. There are 4 local governments there too. There is Kana, there is Gokana, there is Tai. Yes, 3, and Eleme. Kana, Gokana, Tai, Eleme. Wike cannot go to those places and say, oh yeah, this is what we are going to do. People will stand up and say no. You know, same thing with places, the riverine, Opobo, Andoni, Brass. No, Brass is in Bayelsa. Bonny, Opobo, Andoni, Bonny, where they inside water. Those were areas. He cannot go there and dictate for them also. But he has to negotiate.
I get you. But before we go, don't you think the fact that Wike's faction of the PDP has been recognized as against that of Turaki, that can give him the upper hand? Anyway?
No. Is he still a member of the PDP? As far as I'm concerned, no. But why? The recognition. The matter is still at appeal.
Okay.
And Turaki and all the others in his ESCO are still functioning because there is a stay of execution and there is also an appeal. So until an appeal is decided, you cannot say that what that... because for me, I'm not a lawyer, but there have been similar matters before just the last judgment.
Okay.
So why is that one different? That's the question one would ask. So, like I'm trying to say, Wike is not the only one who is going to decide what happens. And he's not going to decide when the chips are down. He's not going to be the one to dictate. He's not even going to be the one to dictate for the president, because at the end of the day, the president will also listen to some of his advisors and say, look, enough is enough. And when push gets to a shove, I'm not sure Wike will continue the way he's going.
I think that's a very good place to leave this conversation this morning, because, I mean, we've talked about quite a number of things. And just like you said, we'll come back to discuss this matter, you know, especially after the next elections. Democracy is not just about elections. It is about who holds power, how it is exercised, and in whose interest. Today's conversation makes one thing clear. Rivers State is not just battling a political feud. It is confronting a deeper struggle for authority, loyalty, and the soul of democratic governance. President Tinubu's intervention may have paused impeachment threat, but it has also exposed the fragile balance between peace and political dominance, between either statesmanship and democratic autonomy. As Nigeria moves closer to 2027, Rivers State stands as a warning that stability imposed without consensus may quiet the noise, but it does not silence the questions. The big question remains, can peace built on political submission truly last? My thanks to Sir Moko this morning, Deputy Editor of Nigerian Tribune, for his insight and analysis. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun. This has been The Big Story. Thank you for being a part of this segment. We take a short break now, and when we come back, we move on to Trend Watch. We'll be right back.